Have you ever really thought about what's going on under the hood when you're working out? Well, today we're diving into the pretty cool science behind it all. We're going to look at the two main ways your body fires up and produces energy. Honestly, you can think of them like two totally different engines inside of you, each one built for a very specific job. So let's kick things off with a classic question, right? The sprinter versus the marathoner. How is it possible that one person can just explode with speed for, say, 10 seconds, while someone else can keep a steady pace for literally hours? I mean, it's the same human body. But it's all about which power source they're tapping into, and figuring out that puzzle is exactly what we're here to do. The answer really comes down to a tale of two systems. See, our bodies have one system that's all about explosive power and speed. We're talking short, intense bursts. And then there's another system that's built for endurance and stamina, the one that lets you go on for a long, long time. It's basically two different goals, powered by two very different engines. Okay, so let's give these engines their proper names. We're talking about your aerobic versus your anaerobic energy systems. And trust me, understanding how these work isn't just some boring science lesson. It's the key to figuring out how your own body works and how you can train smarter. So first up is the aerobic system, and the name itself gives you a massive hint. Aerobic literally means with oxygen. This is your long-haul engine. It's what kicks in when you're doing light to moderate stuff, where your breathing is pretty steady and it can supply your muscles with all the oxygen they need to create energy. And then on the complete flip side, you've got the anaerobic system. Anaerobic means, you guessed it, without oxygen. This is your turbo button. This is the engine that takes over for those all-out, super high-intensity moments where you're working so hard you just can't physically breathe in enough oxygen to keep up. Putting them side by side like this makes it crystal clear, doesn't it? Your aerobic system, that's the one using oxygen for lower intensity, long-lasting activities, and it's pretty flexible. It can burn both sugar and fat for fuel. But the anaerobic system, no oxygen, super high intensity, and it's over in a flash. And notice this, it can only run on glucose, on sugar. Why? Because glucose is the body's rocket fuel. It burns the fastest for that instant power. It really shows you the trade-off our bodies are constantly making. Do you need insane power right now, or do you need to last for the long haul? All right, so that's all the theory. But what does this actually look like when we're, moving? Let's step into the arena and see these two engines in action. First, let's look at the endurance athletes, the marathon runners of the world. These are the activities that are fueled almost entirely by that steady, oxygen-powered aerobic engine. It's all about sustaining your effort for a really long time. You got it. Things like running a marathon, a long bike ride, or swimming lap after lap. The goal here isn't to be the most powerful, it's to be the most efficient over time. It's a slow, steady burn that's designed to last for hours if you needed to. Now, let's do a complete 180 and look at the sprinters. Anaerobic activities are the total opposite of endurance. It's all about one thing and one thing only, generating a ridiculous amount of force in the shortest amount of time possible. Yeah, we're talking about the 100-meter dash, a super heavy deadlift, throwing a shot put. These are all-out, maximum effort movements that are over in just a few seconds. You're pushing your body so hard, it just doesn't have time to use oxygen. It needs that immediate, explosive energy that only that anaerobic system can give you. But of course, there's a price to pay for using that turbo engine. What happens when you lean on it a little too hard? Well, you hit a wall, and you feel something we all know and love? It's the burn. So let's get into the science of what is actually going on. You know that feeling, right? You're in the middle of a killer set or that final sprint to the finish line, and your muscles just start to scream at you. What is that? I promise, it's not just in your head. It's a very real chemical process happening inside your muscles. So, meet the culprit, lactic acid. When your anaerobic system is going into overdrive to give you that quick hit of energy, lactic acid is what's left over. A good way to think of it is like the exhaust fumes from your body's high-performance engine. Let's just walk through how this happens. First, you start that really intense exercise. Then your demand for oxygen just skyrockets way past what your lungs can pull in. So your anaerobic system has to jump in to provide that fast energy. The byproduct of that process? Lactic acid. And as that stuff starts to build up, it messes with your muscles' ability to contract. And that's what you feel as fatigue and that famous burn. But hey, our bodies are incredible machines. After we push them to the absolute limit, they don't just shut down. Nope, they start a built-in process to clean up the mess and recover. This is the reset phase. You ever wonder why you're still huffing and puffing even after you've stopped sprinting? That's something called oxygen debt. Your body's basically paying back all the oxygen it couldn't get during that anaerobic burst. It uses all that extra O2 to clear out the lactic acid and get everything back to normal.
And here's the best part. You're not just a passenger along for the ride. You can actually help your body with this whole reset process, which means you can recover faster and feel less sore the next day.
So think of this as your recovery playbook. A light, active cool down, like just walking around, keeps blood flowing and helps flush out that lactic acid. Rehydrating is obviously huge. So is refueling with the right food, carbs and protein, to repair your muscles and restock your energy. And of course, a little bit of stretching can help the whole repair process. It's all part of a smarter way to recover. So there you have it, the two engines that power your every move. Now you get the difference between a long, steady burn and a short, explosive burst. You know what the burn really is, and you even know how to bounce back from it. The only question left is, now that you know the code, how are you going to rewrite your next workout?